I didn't expect to fall through the floorboard. One minute I was walking down the upstairs hallway of my parents' old house, the next, my right leg plunged straight through the wooden slats with a loud crack, sending a sharp jolt of pain up my thigh. I yelled out in surprise, clutching the wall for balance, heart thundering like I'd stepped on a landmine. Dust exploded around me. My hand brushed something beneath the splintered wood, something hard. I steadied myself, pulled my leg out, and dropped to my knees, brushing debris away. Beneath the broken board, wedged into the dark space between the beams, was my mother. I choose. I inside WER. David. Demar. I blinked. Looked again. Checked the birth date on my driver's license. It matched. But the name wasn't mine. My name was Aaron. Aaron Michael Lewis. Not David. I kept flipping through the papers, my pulse speeding up. Letters addressed to my sweet David, in my mother's handwriting. Some signed just Mom. Others, more formal typed letters from a private adoption agency. A legal notice signed by both of my parents. Voluntary relinquishment of custody. Adoptive placement effective April 2, 1990. I sat there staring at that paper like it had fangs. My brain tried to make sense of it. Was I adopted? No, couldn't be. I remembered birthdays with both my parents. Family road trips. My mother's laugh when I spilled spaghetti on the dog. That didn't make sense. Unless I wasn't the adopted one. I was the one they kept. I read the documents again. And it hit me, I had a brother. A twin. One they gave away when we were barely weeks old. And they never told me. Not once. Not in 35 years. I stood up so fast the chair scraped across the kitchen tiles. My hands were shaking. I wasn't angry yet. Not exactly. I was disoriented, like someone had moved all the furniture in my life when I wasn't looking. I stared at the box. At my mother's careful handwriting. At the photo of a baby I never knew existed. And for the first time since her funeral, I felt something that wasn't just grief. I felt betrayed. I didn't sleep that night. I tried, I really did. I lay in my old childhood bedroom, staring at the ceiling fan as it creaked in slow, uneven circles. The box sat on the desk across from me like it was watching. I kept glancing at it, hoping maybe I'd misread something, misunderstood the meaning. But every time I reviewed the letters, the adoption records, the photo, it was all there. Undeniable. My parents had another child. A twin. My brother. David. The name echoed in my head like a secret whispered too many times. David. My twin. I was 35 years old and just now learning I was supposed to grow up with someone else beside me. That I wasn't an only child, like they always said. That half of my story was missing. The next morning, I drove to the nursing home where my father had been for the past 2 years. His health had declined fast after Mom died, Parkinson's mixed with mild dementia. He still recognized me most days, but conversations weren't always clear. Still, I had to try. He was sitting near the window when I arrived, watching birds gather around a feeder just outside. He looked small. Not the towering figure I remembered from my childhood, just a quiet, fragile old man in a plaid robe. When he saw me, he smiled faintly. "Aaron," he said. "Back again so soon?" "Yeah, Dad. I'm cleaning out the house." He nodded, distracted by a blue jay fluttering outside. "Needs a new roof, that place." Dad. I sat down across from him, heart pounding. I didn't know how to say it gently. So I didn't. Who's David? He blinked. Turned to me slowly. What? David Nguyen, I said. I pulled out the black and white photo from my pocket. You gave him up in 1990. March. The same day I was born. He's my brother, isn't he? For a second, I thought he'd say he didn't know what I was talking about. I almost hoped for it. But instead, my father's face crumpled. He closed his eyes. Oh. God. I found the papers, I said, voice shaking. The adoption files. The letters. You never told me I had a twin. He didn't answer right away. When he finally spoke, his voice was quiet. We didn't want to give him up. We were broke, Aaron. I'd lost my job. Your mom, she had postpartum depression. We were in over our heads. 2 babies, 1 income, no family help. Then this lawyer came, said a couple in California was looking to adopt. Said they could give him everything we couldn't. I was shaking. So you just gave away your son? We thought it was best, he said, eyes glassy. We thought he'd have a better life. But your mother, she never forgave herself. That's why she kept the letters. The photo. She wanted to find him. She tried, you know. Sent letters to the agency. But they wouldn't talk. Said it was closed adoption. Sealed records. I stared at him. You could be, he told me. He looked up at me, and for the first time in years, I saw real emotion in his face. We were ashamed. And scared. What if you hated us? What if he never wanted to be found? I didn't know what to say. I stood up and walked to the window, my fists clenched. This changes everything, I said. My whole life I thought I was alone. I know, he whispered. I left not long after that, still numb. The rest of the day, I scoured old records, adoption databases, even Reddit forums about reconnecting with adopted siblings. But it was like hitting a brick wall. Most agencies from that era had outdated records. Closed adoptions meant sealed files unless the adoptee filed a request to open them. But I had one clue, the manila envelope. It had a return address from the adoption agency's legal department, one that still existed in San Diego. That night, I emailed them. I included a scanned copy of the birth certificate, the photo, and my own ID. I told them I wasn't asking to disrupt anything, just that I'd learned I had a brother, and I wanted to know if he was okay. A week passed, then 2. On the 14th day, I got a reply. It was short. Dear Mr. Lewis, thank you for your inquiry. We cannot confirm or deny the status of any adopted individuals. However, your message has been forwarded to a party who may be able to respond. Respectfully, Western Family Services Legal. I didn't know whether to be frustrated or hopeful. But 4 days later, another message arrived. This one wasn't from a law office. It was from a man named Daniel Tran. The subject line simply said, I think I'm your brother. I read his email 10 times before I could even breathe. Hi Aaron, I received a forwarded message from Western Family Services. I've known I was adopted since I was about 10. My adoptive parents were always honest with me about it, but they didn't know much, just that I had a twin, and our birth parents couldn't keep us both. I've thought about finding you my entire life. My name is Daniel now. Daniel Tran. I live in Santa Barbara. I'd like to meet if you're open to it. Daniel. My hands were trembling so hard I almost dropped my phone. I just kept staring at his name. Daniel. My brother. Alive. Real. Not some ghost hidden in family files or a mystery buried in a box. I had a name. An email. A chance. I wrote back immediately. Told him I needed to meet in person. That I'd fly out, drive, walk if I had to. He replied with his phone number and a simple message, come next weekend. I'll be waiting. The flight to Santa Barbara was short but felt like years. My heart wouldn't stop pounding the entire time. What do you say to someone who was supposed to grow up beside you? What do you wear to meet the other half of your identity? He told me to meet him at a small cafe near the beach. It was early afternoon. The sun was bright, the kind of clear California light that makes everything feel sharper than real life. I got there 10 minutes early. He was already waiting. He stood when I approached. Tall, like me. Same sharp chin. Same eyes mine, but deeper set. It was like looking in a mirror, but not. He gave a nervous smile. You must be Aaron. I nodded. Daniel. He nodded back. And then before I could think he pulled me into a hug. It wasn't awkward. It wasn't forced. It was familiar. Like something in my bones recognized him even if my brain couldn't keep up. We sat down and just stared at each other for a moment, two grown men trying to bridge 35 years of silence. He spoke first. You look like Mom, he said. Well, our birth mom. You too, I replied. But you got more of Dad's nose. He laughed. It was strange and beautiful and sad all at once. For the next 2 hours, we talked like people who'd known each other forever but hadn't. He told me he'd grown up in a quiet suburb, raised by two kind, older Vietnamese American parents who never had biological kids of their own. He'd gone to UC Berkeley. Became a high school science teacher. He was married. No kids yet. I always wondered, he said, stirring his coffee, what you were like. If you were okay. If you knew I existed. I didn't, I said quietly. Not until Mom died. She left me the house, and I found the box. He looked away for a moment. I used to imagine that we got separated in a fire. Or a war. Something dramatic. Not just poverty. I nodded. Yeah. I thought about what I'd say to them if I could. I mean, our parents. But Dad's the only one left now. He's not doing great. Daniel didn't answer right away. Then he asked, do you hate them? The question sat between us like an open wound. I didn't know how to answer at first. I hate that they never told me, I said finally. I hate that I never knew you. But I don't hate them. I think they were scared. And ashamed. But they kept your photo. The letters. That has to mean something. He nodded slowly. I'd like to meet him. One day. We walked along the beach afterward. Just talked. About childhood. School. Favorite movies. Silly things. Heavy things. Things we'd never had the chance to share before. And in all of it, there was a strange kind of peace. Not closure exactly, but connection. Something that felt like healing. When I flew home the next day, I didn't feel like I was returning alone. I had a brother now. A real one. A month later, Daniel visited. He sat beside me in the nursing home, holding our father's hand while the old man cried and whispered "I'm sorry" over and over. And Daniel, because he's kinder than I think I could ever be, just squeezed his hand and said, "I know." That night, the three of us sat in the old family living room, eating takeout and watching old movies. The house didn't feel so empty anymore.